Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is Grace of Rusty Thicket Studio, and today we are working on our Rust zine. It's going to be a fun facts zine, and if you've been on the channel before, you probably already know this, but I love zines, mostly because I like to do them in this form, which is junk journaling or ephemera. I keep lots of scraps of little papers and stickers and little doodads, and I don't often do anything besides actual junk journaling besides the zine, so it's one of my favorite ways to just be creative and crafty and do something on, theme usually of something I'm already kind of working on, and that's, exactly what we're doing for this project today. So it is a fun fact zine. We are going to cover some things about Rust, but if you want some more basic information, make sure you go and see the very first video in this series where we did some color swatching in watercolor Rust colors, which was a lot of fun. I got to use my new palette for the first time on camera for that too, and that's the brand new Holbein set, and I really loved them. I loved the pigments. I thought they turned out great. But anyway, yeah, so today we're working on this zine. I always start putting down the background first. I usually do pre-select everything. It takes me a while to go through all of my scraps, and I don't do that on screen. So everything that you see here, I have pre-pulled. I have sort of laid out, but not like 100% made up my mind on it yet. But that's what we're going to do first, just lay down our background images. I loved this picture of the barn. Not only is it a painting, so it's already very, on theme, I guess, because art. Anyway, so when I was going through all this stuff and I saw the barn, it's not exactly, it doesn't necessarily make me think of Rust, although a lot of barns have like rusty objects and things in them, but the color was 100% on the mark, what I was going for, and it had a matching page next to it that had a rusty old truck, and I just thought it would be really cool to incorporate both pieces of those, so that's what we're going to do. And you'll see here in a little bit when I label them what each page is, what the fun fact is going to be, and it kind of goes with the background a little bit. That's what I tried to do anyway. Alright, so this page, on the zine, you want to make sure you flip that around so that your numbers are upright again. I will try and put this in the description box below. I've made zines before, and I really like using this template because it helps me remember which way up everything needs to go. And the way that I make these zines, because, they're ephemera, they don't really fold up very nicely at the end, I always scan these in, and that's how I make the booklet, so it's okay to keep this nice and flat. And this is actually even on cardstock, which is even heavier and a lot nicer to work with when you're scanning things in. It's not quite so flimsy with, really heavy sections of paper on it and stuff. Alright, and after we clean up a few edges there, we're going to go on to this next panel. I do wish I had moved this little page down. You'll see in a minute. I wanted more of this initially, and I guess I just got caught up in the moment of it. And when I stack this rusty paint chip piece, I shouldn't have lined it up at the bottom. I should have cut it off some and had a little bit more extra at the top of that really beautiful yellows and rust colored field. This was an incredible find because I knew I had a piece of, like, a fun fact that had something to do with salt water, so the ocean. And when I was skipping through stuff, finding that orange in there was just perfect. And you'll see what I mean here in a minute. Let me know in the comment section down below if next time I should make this ASMR. I do have the capability, but it's so difficult for me to do it here with all of this extra noise I've got going on in the background usually, but I would like to attempt it if you guys are interested. Alright, moving on to our last panel is going to be some of these really cool old rusty hinges I found in a magazine. Again, I didn't plan this zine nearly as long as I've had all of this stuff. I just save things that I find interesting and hope that at some point I might need them, and look, I did. So if this is something you're interested in doing, just start ripping interesting pages out of whatever magazines you get that come to the house, or if you've got like, we have these things here for Okinawa and the base that posts like the upcoming events and stuff like that, and sometimes they've got really beautiful photography and stuff in them, so it's a great source for me here since I don't actually have magazine subscriptions. But look at this beautiful rust color palette. I'm really excited to start adding all of the extra fun parts. I've talked about these books before. I've gotten them for my birthdays and stuff. They are like vintagey stickers and I love them. And rust is such a short word. I thought it would be perfect to do with these little typewriter buttons. And I just think that turned out super cute. We are going to jump around and hop around as we finish this out because I like to make sure things are somewhat balanced and I'm not overusing the same textures and things like that. So you'll see me go back and forth between things when I just haven't made up my mind quite yet. These are all of my little stickers and ephemera that I pulled out thinking I might use them. So some of them for sure, and then some of them I don't think I end up putting together. I loved this moth and how it almost blends into the background because it's almost perfectly that same brown and red color. And this is a really fun copper pen. I think, well, in the swatch video we did, it's like a part of a gold and a black and a white set, and I think this one was just the perfect one to use because you'll see I'll use black and some other colors in here to do text, but you can read fun facts very, very well on that one. Alright, so for page 2, I'm going to do a fun fact about... It's not like seeing rust in a good light exactly, but it is a fun fact about corrosion and rust in general, but there is an estimated $2.5 trillion worth of goods and things like that lost to corrosion globally. I think yearly. I'm actually... my husband is the one that told me this fact, and I found that very interesting. With his job, he has to take corrosion classes and stuff like that, so it was a lot of fun just chatting with him about, you know, his side of things when it comes to rust, because it's not good, you know, in the military. You don't want to lose your assets to that, but I think it's very pretty, and because we're on an island and there is lots and lots of rust, this was just the perfect time for me to lean into that. Alright, so we're going to come back through and do most of the text last. I'll cover the facts as we go for that part. I just wanted to let you understand kind of how my brain was working through, you know, which panel gets what and everything. But I just wanted to add a little mushroom here and a little mushroom here because what is Rusty Thicket Studio without some mushrooms? We are, after all, a Goblin Core channel. And I just loved these leaves. They were so bright and crispy on the page. I'm glad they're coming off on the camera that way too. So I thought this little scallop design would be really interesting, especially after being scanned. And if you can see why, by this point I'm already deciding I really wish I would have dropped that darker orange down. But, you know, you just have to live with your choices sometimes. Japan has so many of these beautiful, they call them flake stickers, where they're like pre-cut out like this. Some of them are really big, some of them are teeny tiny, like you'll see here in a minute with the pieces that I put on top of this. These are really cool because they're like the wax seals, but they're actually stickers. I do have wax seals and I don't typically get them out much because I don't want them to get all over my scanner, but maybe one day we'll do some of those. Oh yeah, like I was mentioning, these are also flake stickers. We'll come back to those when I've decided what I want to do with them. Now this galvanized piece of paper is also going to get ripped up here in a little bit, but I wanted to get out this last piece here layered so that I knew exactly how everything was going to line up background wise. And I thought this little paper clip was really cute to kind of match the other clip that I used on the other side. One of my favorite things about zines is all the different textures. The colors are always great and they're a lot of fun to find throughout all of my scraps and stuff. But for me, it's really the textures come through in stuff like this, especially after you scan them. Alright, little flake stickers going down. These will make a little bit more sense too when you figure out what the fact is that's going on that page. Alright, now I need to start tearing out what I'm putting my text on. Sometimes I tear first and I write the information after I've torn down the sizes that I want, and then you'll see in a minute that I also like to do it the opposite way, which is write down the quote and then tear around it, just kind of depending on what the layout is and how I want the page to read. I really think if you haven't given it a shot yet, you should try some kind of junk journaling, scrap journaling. It's a lot of fun to just be kind of loose and messy, and you know, it's not supposed to be perfect. I used to get really caught up in the perfectionism of things, and it's nice to, you know, have pieces that I think people appreciate where I was just not a little bit crazy about it. Alright, so you'll see here I'm laying all these out because I have text that's going to go on top of those. Sometimes I glue them down first, and sometimes I'm overly cautious and do use pencil because I'm not a great speller. And even though I have most of this text laid out for me, I'm a little bit by the seat of my pants sometimes, so it's nice to have a plan. Here I am contemplating how I'm going to make this sentence look as nice as it possibly can without overcrowding my words, because I know I'm going to come back in with a thicker marker later. Like that. Alright, so then we tape this down. These Elmer's tape things are an absolute lifesaver when it comes to junk journaling. I like to use the glue stick also, but this is just so much neater as long as you can stay, you know, within whatever it is that you're working with so it doesn't make your scanner bed like tacky. Alright, and this is how I do the other one. I'm gonna rip around this because I liked having, you know, that like centered look on it instead of having each word on its own. Alright, so this is panel number 2, and the text says, "Rust reminds us that transformation takes time." And it just made me think of like slow life, slow living on the farm. That's why it's on that panel. Now for this one, it is panel number 3, and I've got those leaves behind it. And the fact for this one is that rust forms under a chemical reaction, and so do leaves when they change color in the fall. Alright, so we're going to hop around just a minute. I want to kind of lay this out how it's going to look on panel number 5. And I'm kind of nervous that I'm going to mess it up. So my brain says, just go ahead and do it. Get it over with. But this one is for the ocean background, and it says that salt accelerates rusting by boosting water's conductivity, which we did touch a little bit about in my last video. So again, don't forget to go and see number 1 in the series. There are going to be 3 more after this for a total of 5. And all of these artworks are going to be products as digital downloads in my Etsy shop and on my website if anybody's interested in spending a couple of dollars printing them yourself. Alright, so back to panel number 4, we're just going to write directly on that sticker because it's a really nice, almost like a velvety smoothness to it, so a Sharpie worked great. This one is about pigments and dyes. So rust can be used as a pigment in paints, dyes, and ceramics. For fun fact number 4. And over there on the end, we did go ahead and skip that panel on camera. I think it cut out on me or something, but it says a thin layer of rust can sometimes protect the metal underneath it, which I thought was very appropriate for those little hinges and stuff. So I think you guys should definitely, take the time to look through some magazines, put some pieces together, and then maybe find a theme that goes with those, or the other way around, however you think you might be able to, come up with a piece of artwork. I love zines. You'll see here in a minute where I print it out, and then I also, when you download these, I have instructions on how to fold them properly, because I have covered that in some videos here before. But I think it looks great. I absolutely love all of the colors, the textures. It came out just as I was hoping, and it's just another fun little segment in our rust projects. I do leave the back blank where you see the B there because I add in all of my socials and stuff. You'll see that printing right here. I do that by scanning it in and then editing it in Procreate for anybody who's interested in adding their own. Sometimes I number them depending on what they are and stuff, and all my links and whatnot. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you guys leave some comments down below. What's your favorite rust color? I would love to know that, or what you think about the zine. And I will see you all next week for a painting again. Bye guys.